Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Noodles. We are on the Type 88 show, which airs every other Wednesday on Maker Park Radio and is also on all your favorite podcast platforms. This is the show where we talk to dreamers about how they turn their dreams into reality. So today we have a Wonder Woman in the building. I maybe shouldn't even say Wonder Woman because she makes her own characters and her own heroes, but she is definitely, you may wonder how this woman does it all, but she's going to be sharing it with us today. I've met her early on in her journey, and it's just been really amazing to just see her evolve from, being kind of like a ghostwriter for promoting events and creating events behind the scenes where people didn't even know she was doing it, to now painting full scale murals across New York City, making the world a more beautiful place, making tons of different music and different things, and launching clothing. And she's just on a roll. And so I just want to welcome Jodi DaReal to the Type 88 show. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. So of course we had you about a year or two ago with your other half, Sean,
Yes.
and that was a lovely interview. It was just really inspiring to just hear a couple that coexists creatively and outside of creatively. So it was
Yeah.
just really cool to just, because I'm very blessed. I have an amazing other half too, but we are just on two different vibes.
Yeah.
She's a teacher. I'm in a whole like creative zone, and it was just so cool to hear about how you guys work together, put out projects together, and you've just been on your own grind too. So maybe
Yeah.
like for anyone who doesn't really know about, I've seen you for the last decade really
Yeah.
constantly go hard. Maybe you could kind of just talk about like that, how you even found art, and like where did that even come from?
So, I've always been like a mixed bag. Like, my family at one point told me when I was little, I used to like scribble lines on a piece of paper, and they'd ask, "What is this?" And I'm like, "It's a scary movie." And then I read out like the entire film, and they're like, "What? There's nothing on that paper." Or I've been even when I was little painting and drawing. So I kind of just took to it in school. And music was even something that wasn't even by choice. I had to do it for a class. I was writing poetry, and the teacher was like, "You should change the poem to a song." And then boom,
There you
now I'm
go.
doing music. And it's definitely been a blessing to have Sean, because I almost stopped doing music, and he was like, "Nah, like your pen game is way too serious for you to just put it to the side." So I am picking up with that as well. But yeah, it's been a busy year, and I feel like my brain doesn't function unless I have more than one project going on. So I kind of just started a few and wanted to see organically where they would go, and they all started to blow up on me. So I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So no, it's been a crazy year.
So, of course it's been a crazy year, but you've really been going hard in the art community for quite a while.
Mhm.
I remember we met at a specific venue. We don't have to talk about the name, but you were really, yeah,
And
you
shout out to NYC Art Cipher. Love all the
were,
time. Definitely
yeah,
remember that 100%. Because that's when my events took off. Like that's when
they did give
I
a
really got
platform.
my foot in the door. And not to mention, shout out to Charlie B, because without him, I wouldn't know how to plan events or even do half of the administrative stuff that I do now. So a lot of what I'm using today started in that place. That was like my first internship out of college. So I'll always show love to that place, like
Word.
regardless. Like, yeah.
R.I.P. to Charlie. He
Yes.
did have a vision for the island.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of what we're seeing now, he was on some stuff,
Yeah,
a long time ago,
exactly.
painting and creating and finding ways to mix business and art. And, RIP to him. It
Yeah.
was definitely a big L
Yeah,
for the island.
most definitely. And I feel like even now, so murals are starting to blow up. Like people are starting to get a little more comfortable, especially in the North Shore. Like it's the mural fever is definitely spreading.
That's some real, yeah. And I remember he was really just scratching the surface in the
Yeah,
beginning, and and I remember I met DJ Cool Herc
yeah,
from him. He introduced me to the guy who founded hip hop,
yeah.
and
Same here. Like he saw me perform at the art cipher. So it's like a lot of beautiful things happen there. So yeah, always gonna show love. Like
yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
So yeah, I know you were working a lot behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
it just it from that point on, I kind of just saw you grow to putting yourself more in the spotlight.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like a slow burn.
Yeah.
Um, but you always had that spark in you. You know,
Mhm.
I saw when you would get on the mic and the painting and everything, and now
Yeah.
like lots of things are coming together.
Hmm.
How many, if I could ask, how many like hours do you think you've put into just art in general? Like
I
practicing, drawing,
could,
painting,
you know what?
preparing.
Because funny enough, like because my home is my studio, I usually only paint or draw when I'm commissioned. Like that's one thing I admire Sean for. He just draws. Like that man will wake up 4 a.m. and just draw. And me, I'm like, I need to be inspired. Not today. Like, so now looking at him, I'm trying to break those patterns. But when I zone out, let's say on a painting, if I started in the morning, most likely I'm not gonna drop my brush until like 3, 4 o'clock. And most mornings I'm starting at like 7 a.m. just up like, okay, let me work on this. But it definitely hits sometimes because my insecurities are getting the best of me, especially in difficult places where I'm like, I can't paint this or this face or this body or whatever. So that's been slowing me down a lot. So that's been my focus for this year, breaking that barrier. So I'd say like 12 hours, but not every day. But when I'm on a good hot streak, 12 hours for that. But most times, because I'm also doing logos and cover art for people, I literally have to break up my day like a job where I'm like, okay, from 7 to 9, I'm gonna work on this for this client and get like 3 hours in. And then from 10 to 12, I'm gonna work on this. Then I'm gonna take a break. And then maybe the break continues if my brain is overloaded, or maybe I continue for the day. So it's sort of like a 9 to 10 situation when it comes to my work ethic.
That's amazing to know
Yeah,
about
the
the
sleep is
daily.
important. Sleep is
I'm
important. Like
I'm team sleep.
I am not gonna. I have stress is a killer, and I've learned that the key to happiness is like not to overwork yourself and to like really just listen to your body. Like, yeah, the client needs it, but no, your body is telling you to sleep. So sleep.
That's some real.
So
That's real.
back. So I definitely enjoy the fact that I can cut off that time. And sometimes, like I said, if I'm inspired, I'll go past that 10 o'clock mark. But most times I'm like, nope, time to go to sleep. I'll wake up at 6 or I'll wake up at 5, but I'm definitely going to sleep like 9, 10.
So and like they say it in betting or sports, you're all
Yeah.
in. Like you're
Yeah.
literally waking up and you're literally going all day
Yeah.
towards. And there's so many branches of our tree as
Yeah.
creatives, but like you're finding time to water all different parts of the garden,
Yeah.
whether it's the dandelions, the roses. You're making sure that you're not like hoping to be lucky. You're not like,
Yeah.
oh well, someone will message me, otherwise I'm going to sit home and just play games all day, and then when they write to me, that's when I'll work. Like, no,
No,
you're
it's
actually creating your own luck.
yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. Since COVID, before COVID, I was doing swim instruction and I was a swim coach and supervising swim lessons. And before COVID, I was like, you know what, at the end of this year, I'm quitting these jobs. Like, I just put it out there in the universe because I've been doing that recently. I consider myself a pretty spiritual person where I'm just like, you put it out there, you do the work, you will be rewarded. It's not good luck, it's hard work over time. So now I'm like, wow, I didn't have to quit my job. The universe said, oh, COVID, I was forced to. And because I was forced to, that's why I went crazy this year. Because I've been working for the most part over the years, but I feel like now, because I had only that time to do art and only that time to listen to music and write music, that my brain was just like, bing, 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 I need money. So I couldn't just stay on the canvases because the canvases weren't moving. People don't buy canvases as often, but people buy logos. So that started happening. And then from the logos, oh, well, people need covers for their artwork. So I was like, boom, I do covers too. And I just started like as though it was like a Velcro wall. And I was like, let's try comics, let's try music, let's try this. And whatever stuck, I kept doing, and whatever didn't stuck, I kind of just put it in the back burner and sort of like monitoring the trends, because social media, even that over the pandemic, I was researching that and learning about that to the point where I was able to go viral on Instagram and TikTok. And I was like, oh, wow. And I was like, this is too much work. Because that in itself is a job. Like,
Yes.
the only reason the videos I did weren't even like that great, but because I was online so often during the pandemic and being engaging with different people and et cetera, the algorithm was like, oh, she's always here, let's give it to her.
Yeah.
You know, because people assume it's like it's what you're making, but no, it's what you're doing before you post and what you're doing after. So yeah, it's been a huge learning experience.
And I think that definitely applies to creating too. So it's
Yeah.
like I always say like today I posted a photo and it was like the whole photo was just all orders.
Right.
And it's like it may have looked like I took that today, but that took me 13 years to get to a point to be able to post a photo that is
Of that.
completely full of
Yeah.
packages.
Mm-hmm.
So like you may see that in that one moment, just the photo of that packet, and you're like, oh, well, he's doing it all the time. Yo,
Yeah.
like that took me
No.
13 years to get to that point.
Right.
And I just don't want to be cocky. I could post those more, but I'm like, I even felt
No.
weird posting it in. I'm like,
Nah,
should I
man,
post this? Should I not?
you gotta post the milestones, you know, like, because I'm one about like promotion and advertising online, but even like the t-shirt thing, like you see me doing that now, but that's like after a year and a half of me Googling, of me messing up shirts and buying the wrong printer. So it's like people don't see that behind the scenes carrying boxes. Like they only see when you post the final and they're like, oh, like he's always been doing shirts, he always puts it online. No, I've been promoting it, but this is my first time filling a sheet. Like that's a milestone. You should never hold back that. Definitely not.
Yeah, and I've done social media for businesses, and it's because I've done it so much for myself. But
Exactly.
it's weird, kind of like it's for me. It's like it's interesting. It's like you're a kid, you want to get this toy,
Yeah.
you can't get it, but then you're like 30, you could get it, and you kind of like now that I have it,
Now,
like something else is
right?
more important. You know, like it's
Exactly.
so crazy. It's interesting, but I'm
The
so grateful.
priorities, the priorities switch, because I definitely felt more of an adult, not full adult, but more of an adult when I hit that 30 mark. And I was like, dude, what am I doing with my life? Where is this art real? Is this music real? Is this real? Like, am I really doing this? Because if I am, I got to cut stuff off. Like, you know, because I was at that fork in the road as well with the swimming, because they were letting me supervise. But if I really wanted to like go further to be like a head coach, I'd need more hours there. I'd need more contact with the family, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, darn. But if I really wanted to take the art, same thing. I would need to stop doing the coaching as much So one of them had to go, and I mean, it's sort of awful to say because so many people lost their lives to COVID, but it's definitely been a blessing for me. Like with the stimulus, like the stimulus funded the business, the shirts. The unemployment funded the shirts and like the research, and like, and all of that was money that I didn't even have, you know. So it's definitely been like a very rewarding year. You know, hard work pays off, people. Don't give up. Positive thinking will get you there. Like seriously.
It's so true. It's so
Yeah.
true. It's, of course, it's been one of the most trying times, at least of my
Yeah.
life, you know, just seeing everything going on. But you are right in the sense where it gave us the chance to really lock in onto what, and
The
gave us more
important stuff.
time because
Yeah.
we were very scattered as artists. We got a little scattered. We want to do everything.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that show, the movie with Jim Carrey. He says yes to everything.
Yeah.
And I trust me, I've probably gone on a decade of just on that vibe, and there's not,
Yeah.
and I'm all for it because it was all learning experiences. And I in the moment I felt like I should have said yes. I don't have no regrets, but the fact that it kind of put a big no on going anywhere,
Yeah.
you're like,
Like
okay,
you have
as a
no
creative,
choice.
you don't want to just sit home and just watch other people be creative. You want to be
Yes.
creative. And
Yeah. And a lot of people lost their jobs. I feel like
yes.
COVID was a time for entrepreneurs. I saw a lot of people who lost their jobs who were like, you know what, instead of waiting for a next job, I'm going to make something. I'm going to sell this body product. I'm going to make shirts. I'm going to, whatever the case is. Like a lot of people picked up their hustle because it was like an end all fight or flight, you know, kind of situation.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to be here still alive, not even crazy, but thank God for that. And we still have our health at least. But a lot of people stepped up. It's like, if
Yeah.
I can't do my regular job, they either did entrepreneur stuff or they took that other job that they really wanted to take but couldn't take because they were stuck.
True.
So that's what's like, there's the balance is so awful, like because sometimes I feel bad about talking about the positive within all of the loss, but every once in a while you still gotta address that. Yeah.
Yeah, I must say, losses to me have been the biggest learning experiences. When I win, I'm just like, okay, I got to keep going. When I lose, it like shatters me in a way where I'm like, okay, well, I got to put these puzzle pieces back together.
Go back to
What
the drawing
what
board,
did,
look things
what
up.
did I learn from this? And
Yeah.
well, you know, and I always tell people, I'm like, you're not gonna just. It's not a video game. You don't just, you know, where money isn't breath. You know, if you run out of money, you don't just end the game like Sonic, like you're
Yeah,
out of
exactly.
rings or whatever. Like, doo, 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 doo.
Exactly.
Like, no, you got to go out and you find ways to get rings, whether it's climbing treetop zone or going to
Right.
casino land or whatever it is.
Because the resources are there. It's sometimes it's within your network. So if it's like a money situation where you feel like I don't have enough money, it's still possible to you to get your dreams off the ground. You just have to start at a smaller step.
I
Like,
agree.
you know, yeah.
I always tell people I'd rather get a win a day than wait 5 years for a big win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
I'd
a
rather
tiny,
just win
tiny little win.
20 orders, 20 orders, 20 orders, 20 orders. After the end of the year, it's 10,
Did I
you know,
then
it's
you are gold, sir, because I got one order and I was like, so I was like, oh my God, they actually bought one.
it's just
Oh
it's
man.
crazy, and
Yeah.
but it's me putting my all in. You know, it's hashtag all in. Like I literally spend a majority of my day making, and then I spend the other majority creating new things because my mind now is just on like a hamster wheel of design. It's just,
Right. You
and
just
once I
go.
figure out like how to make certain, I call it like once you find your sauce,
Yeah.
don't change the recipe, put it on new pasta. So like once I figure out the
Mm, I
sauce,
like
I'm
I
like,
like
okay,
that.
I'm gonna put it on noodles, I'm gonna put it on rigatoni, I'm gonna put it on spaghetti, linguine, ricotta, like,
Hmm.
and I'm like, okay, it worked here. Let me do this 1,700 other times,
Right.
500
Exactly.
other ways.
That's cool.
It's like I guess in business they call it by scale, like you're scaling because you're
Mhm.
doing something at such a pace and a
Yeah.
consistency. It's just like, all right, you have now, like this summer we did 4,000 designs.
Wow.
4,000.
I'm struggling now trying to figure out. And then I've talked to a few other people who do merchandise, and they're like, Jodi, you're overthinking it. Like, just put it on a shirt. Just leave it alone. You're overthinking it.
It's
Mm,
I call it like, because I'm very romantic. I love talking to people and like coming
yeah.
up with a design. Like those are my dreamers of the month
Yeah.
where I get the most romantic with.
Yeah.
But then I have met, like this is all design talk, but then I have like mad one night stands. I'm like, all right, one, and
Yeah.
I just keep making and making and putting them out, and they're not even on my business. They're
Yeah.
in other cuts of the world where you got to
Yeah.
find them, and
Hmm.
that was a big help for me, was not feeling like I had to do everything under my brand. The
Okay.
minute I stopped that and I became kind of this like masked hero or masked villain, it changed because
Yeah.
now I could do a random emo design. Now I could do a sport design that maybe had nothing to do with, but like those are things I love. So when I was able to like literally go outside the box of my
Yeah.
own, because your brand is a certain way. Like I can't break out that box and be like, okay, I'm gonna do weird. Stereotype is very diverse, but we can't do
Yeah.
everything comfortably.
Yeah.
I have to fit in a box, even though we're very diverse. But
Yeah.
now I broke out of that and I'm like, okay, I could be a hero here, I could be a hero there, I could be, you know, and that was a big help for me. And that
Yeah.
enabled me to get to that. And now my goal in 2 years is to have about 20,000 designs on the internet that just
Wow.
exist
Okay.
in pockets that
Yeah.
they're not stereotyped. They just exist, and
Yeah.
you find them.
That's cool. On some like Where's Waldo of shirts.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You know what I've been doing too? I just kind of realized this.
Okay.
Whenever I make something now, I don't, this it seems a little backwards now in the world we live in, because I even look at it, I'm like, I make something and I don't post it.
Okay.
And this is what I've been doing, because what I've seen when I post something that I just make, sometimes I let the response affect
Uh,
affect my next move. I'm like,
okay.
oh well, 50 likes. Oh, no one bought it. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna just keep throwing spaghetti all day and throwing it all over the world, in all different cities.
And see what bites. That makes sense because I've been so in my head about
Yeah,
the t-shirts things. I've even been trying to do the thing where it's like I put it out and I'm like, oh, what would you guys like? And like a few people will say both, a few people will say one or all, or and I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've really been overthinking it.
It's part of the game with the merch. I
Yeah.
try. I remember Stereotype first year. I put out maybe 5 designs because
Okay.
it was so romantic and it was so So now I'm romantic, but it's like one night stand romantic. I'm like, all
Yeah.
right, we're cool, but all right, tomorrow I'm moving on.
I'm up.
And I
Yeah.
mean this only in design world and creating,
Exactly.
not in my
Yeah.
real life.
He's like, not about these are metaphors, people. These are metaphors. But no, I hear you,
But
man. I
yeah,
hear you. I feel you. Because I've definitely been a little I guess nervous about putting things out because I want to put my art on merch, but I don't want it to just be square outline, boom, here's a painting,
course.
here's a drawing. Like I want to make it a fashion thing, make it
Of
just
course.
something, So I
Of
was
course.
excited about the Star Wars hoodie because it came out a little less like, oh, this is a painting. So I'm starting to branch out.
Yeah.
And even my fiance's brother, he's trying to get into clothing too, and he's more off the wall, out of the barriers. So I'm definitely gonna start like plugging other people for I guess inspiration, because I feel like I'm so in this square and I need to just, there's no square, Jodi. Like you could put something in the armpit if you wanted to. Like no one's gonna stop you. Like, just do it. Get out of your
Yeah.
head.
What you said about what was it? Your brother-in-law?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like collaborations for me they've been like relationships in
Yeah.
art. Like how we have a relationship in life and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
it didn't work. Oh, it did work. Oh, this really worked. Oh, this made me this way. This
Mhm.
helped me figure this out. Collabs have been that way in my business where
Yeah.
like I'm grateful to say like I collab with someone was in the Tonys yesterday, like Daniel Watts,
Oh, cool.
Redman. But then
Yeah.
I've collabed with people that like my friend Abby, who we did Faith Passion Hustle, and we've sold more items together than I've done with in years of doing stuff on my own, like
Yeah.
600 something items
Uh-huh.
as a collab. And what I learned from that collab took me to the next collab and the next, and then every collab I'm like, oh, this guy doesn't care. Like, and that like emotionally affects me when
Yeah.
wow, we only did one sale. Like you could ask my fiance, she'll be like, Dave is so concerned about when Dreamers of the Month, they only do one sale and he gets so
Yeah.
caught up about it. But like, I highly encourage collabs because you'll
Yeah.
just learn from that instant to be like, oh wow, I did this basic, simple design with Perry from Georgia, but we
Yeah.
did like 400 items in 2 months. Like,
Oh,
and
wow.
then, no, I'm pointing out like just an example. Like
Oh,
you
okay.
may do a collab with Perry from Georgia that you met on TikTok, but you're gonna learn something from that experience and take it to
Mhm.
the next place. And so I highly recommend if you're
Collab.
hitting a wall, do collabs like and be open and kind of create like a calendar almost where like, all right, one collab a month. It doesn't have to be like forced,
Yeah.
but kind of in a way creatively push yourself to
To
to get in
find
those doors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now you're bringing energy from different sides that don't know, and then you could bring something live that maybe Perry couldn't do. Maybe
Yeah.
Perry has all the dopest ideas, like he wants to draw aliens, but he can't. But you're the missing piece. But
Mhm.
Perry is in a fraternity, and they're hungry for some dope merch, and
Yeah.
now all of a sudden you've now create that's a collab, where you've you gave him something that he couldn't do without you. You gave him vice versa, and now you both
Exactly.
share your energies.
As it should be.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think because I'm all about the universe, and I really think it's bringing those people towards me. Like even this conversation now, like because the shout out to uplifting clothing, but Shots was definitely the one that was telling me like, dude, just put it on a shirt. Like, what are you worried about? You're overthinking it. There are ways to do this without it being complicated, and it doesn't matter. Just put it on a shirt and put it out and like just have it. So, and then and then my brother-in-law. So I'm just like, all right, I get it. I'll stop. I'm like looking up. I'll stop.
But it's cool. It's all balance, like
Yeah.
because I'm about like goals, but then
Mhm.
you'll meet someone who's like a free spirit and they just
Yeah.
they don't give a damn about anything, and they'll
Yeah.
message 500 people, and then you
I feel like
collab
you
with
need
them.
those people in your life, because
Yeah.
I feel like even with comics or painting, I tend to be more in the lines. Because Sean and I did a sneaker thing the other day, and he painted King Kong on a shoe, and his brushstrokes were so free. And if I did it, I'd have been like, okay, this is his head. It's clean. It's sharp. You could see it. There's some shadowing. And sometimes I want to be like artists like Sean, or like people who are a little more just like fuck the box, like well, I'm not, I don't know, can we curse?
Nah, we're cool. Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. But yeah,
You may have just came up with a new shirt. Just cursing.
Yeah, right. So yeah,
That's
man.
real.
Word. And I think a lot of it is confidence, because I've been, I guess, going back and forth about that as well, trying to be a faster artist. And I realize it's not the technique, because I'm looking up techniques and I'm like, okay, these guys get it, but all of them pretty much are just calm and relaxed, and me, I'm frantic and panicky. So I was like, no, I need to relax and be more confident in the moment that I could complete the task, because that goes back to your earlier question when you were like, how long does it take me? My insecurity about certain facial features or even skin tones get in the way of me finishing a piece. Like a piece now that should take a week, because I finish a mural in a week, like a wall. I'm like, there's no way I can finish a wall in a week and not finish the 16 by 20 face in a week. And I guess the difference is, not that there's someone watching me, but yeah, there's someone watching me. I'm on the clock. But with the canvases, I'm not as on the clock, because I get a little bit more freedom to like play with it. But I feel like that's been my hurdle, like this year, breaking that I can't do this, because a lot of times I feel like, oh no, you're good. But what I said a lot of times when we move forward, and like you with the sales, you see the sheet of paper with all the sales, but you still think you're that guy who first started out back then. And it's like, no, I shouldn't have the confidence of that guy back then. I need to have the confidence of the guy right now who's dropping all these sales. Like, and that's how I feel about the paintings. I'm not the same painter I was when I was younger. I'm doing things way different now. So I need to have that confidence in this moment. So confidence has been a big thing, a big focus for me recently.
That's amazing. And it's good too that you still have the youthful hunger of,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't make it mentality, and you're still working. So I think that's kind of a gift too. It's weird because, you know, it's weird, like the things that we sometimes look at weakness. I'm like, oh, well, she's humble. Oh, she's open to learning, you know? So like it could be flipped, but I totally understand the push towards more confidence.
No,
You're
definitely.
trying
I
to hit
mean,
certain goals and
yeah, because the confidence for me isn't about me walking into a room like everyone's trash, I'm the shit. Like, that's not the confidence. The confidence I'm talking about is inward. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe you can actually accomplish this, regardless of if you walk in? Because a lot of people walk into the room confidently with nothing to show. Just saying.
True.
So it's definitely an inward look at myself. Like, you're talking about things that you couldn't paint back then. You can paint them now. Why are you still thinking about past Jodi? Past Jodi didn't know how to paint that. Like, so that's definitely something that I've been looking at. And even with the music, I'm like, past Jodi was doing this. What is current Jodi doing? And don't get discouraged because you're in a new place. So the songs might be different. Like, just keep pushing. Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Takashi Murakami?
Takashi Murakami? No.
Are you a Kanye fan?
I am kind of a Kanye fan. This is the weirdest thing. This is the weirdest thing. As a rapper, I don't listen to music. I
Oh,
honestly prefer silence
wow.
most of the time, unless I'm looking for inspiration. There are like key people that I go to, but it's definitely only in source of inspiration. It's not just randomly putting on music. I've always looked at that like that's the weirdest thing because Sean will play music all day and his
Yeah, yeah.
playlists are like from country to rock to rap. So there's always music playing in the house. But as an artist, I tell people that and they're like, what? And I'm like, dude, I love artists. Like there are artists out there where I'm like, yo, I love them. But it's never been a let me play it every day.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I don't
No
know.
way. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
We could talk more about that too, about the
yeah.
music creation. But Takashi Murakami, one of the most he's up there for renowned artists. He's from
Oh,
Japan. He's had galleries in the MoMA, and
okay.
he. I'm sure you've seen College Dropout. That cover.
Yeah,
It's like anime ish.
that's him with the bear.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I feel so ignorant. I feel so naive right now because I definitely. Well, as soon as you said Takashi, I thought about 6ix9ine, and
Oh,
that's why I thought it was an artist. So I'm like, wait, what? No, I don't listen to those people. But you
he's
mean the artist? Like he drew. No, I love that cover.
yeah.
That's one of my favorite albums. Like Champion is on there. I think.
That
I
album
love
was
that. Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. No, that one was one of my favorites, definitely.
So Takashi is killing it.
Yeah.
But you go to merch, everything, massive scale pieces,
Mhm.
sculptures, 3-dimensional. Like
Yeah.
he's goals from a lot of
He's
people.
goals. Yeah, definitely
Like Jeff
goals.
Koons. Like people know Jeff Koons now. He's like kind of pop art. Like
Yeah.
Takashi's kind of like pop art because it's just reached a scale of popularity.
Yeah.
Um, but what I thought was so interesting about his process when I went to the MoMA and I went to his exhibit, there was a DVD that was streaming
Oh,
of his
cool.
process.
Yeah.
So he creative directs these large scale pieces,
Okay.
but he has crew filling in. He has crew shading. He has crew because they're
Goals.
doing massive scale
Yeah,
pieces.
that's goals for me, definitely. To have like my own little crew that I trust, because that's another. I don't know. You have to trust these people that are helping you
Yeah.
on your vision. So, yeah, no, that's cool. That's goals.
But what I love about that, it's kind of like us. Like we have the vision, but then like for me, I'll be honest. I know exactly how I want the design to look, but I cannot do the outside the box
Yeah.
painting that we did for Phoenix, or
Hmm.
I couldn't do the Solemn Strong graffiti style piece or the body
Right.
positivity airbrush design, but I know exactly how I want it to be.
Hmm.
And what I think is so cool is just the communication process of like maybe the shading isn't your thing, which I applaud you to always keep pushing to learn it.
Yeah.
But what I recommend to any artist, if there's just something it's not clicking, like maybe you want to engineer, but it's just not sounding like Young Guru.
Hmm.
Maybe you find Young Guru. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just focus on the things that,
Right.
because sometimes I see a lot of people wear so many hats and they're like, oh well, I'm learning all this time mixing the record, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
But like Kanye, he isn't mixing his own records. Like he has
Hmm.
Mike Dean, and that's Mike Dean's
He has a
thing.
team.
That is his thing where
Yeah.
where he just mastered it, and it's just finding little masters to
Hmm.
combine with what you're doing to create a master, I guess.
Exactly. Because I think the reason I'm able to juggle, it's because I have devoted a certain amount of time to each thing. So
Yeah.
it's like art I've been doing all my life. Music I started when I was a teenager. So it's like I got 15 plus years on both of those things. So it's like I've already not really mastered it, but I'm close to the level of mastery where there's still stuff to learn, but I know enough to be able to juggle like on some Bruce Lee, my one hand behind my back, just dun, 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 dun. You know what I mean?
Word, word.
And I think that's the part that people miss out on too. It's like, dude, it's going to take time. You know, some people are gifted where they just get it in a year or they get it in a few months and they're amazing. But even those people, I feel like in the past, things in their life have sort of hit the brain so that they now can do it by ear. Like it's always been there, so to speak. But the other people who are like, for example, me with the comic book, before Sean, I was like, I'm not doing this. This is too hard. And then with Sean, the people, as you were discussing, it just takes the team. Once he broke it down for me, I was like, oh, that's not as hard as I thought. So it's definitely like you need to devote, I say, at least a decade. Give yourself a decade of research and learning and failure on that one thing. If you want to splash something in there, cool. But that one thing needs to be your only focus. It's sort of like in college, you have your major and your minor. You need to have one major.
Yeah.
Then you could, and then you could have your little minors. And then once your major is you're at graduate level, pull that minor in to become a major. But it can't be all at once. Because that's the last thing, because sometimes I'm always in my head, oh, they think I'm doing too much. They think I'm doing too much. But then in my mind, I'm like, wait, I've been doing this for years. It's just now I'm starting to use it. Like I've been researching it for years, but now I'm starting to use it. So it's definitely a climb.
It's true. Yeah, success happens overnight after busting your ass for a decade.
After hundreds of hours. When you finally get noticed, that's when it's like ping. I guess they call it like the better days, when one thing after the other keeps happening. And I feel like I am in that winning season, and I don't like calling it winning season because I don't want my winning to be seasonal, but it is the beginning of like just successes around the corner, especially with the murals, because that's something I've been trying to sort of excel at. I have little milestones for each thing, but I'm doing it at my pace. Sort of like if it happens, I'll be grateful, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to be beating myself up about it, because happiness and peace is the first part of all of this working. Anything that stresses me out too much, I'm like, nope, this is too much stress. Take that off the bill. Not doing it anymore. Like, and that's how I've been moving.
It's true. Yeah, I think like for me, it's been saying yes a lot, but then saying no too. Yeah, I think early 30s for me, it was just saying yes to almost everything.
Okay.
And then it's like when you hit the mid 30s, it's like, well, you can't.
No.
It's a happy blend of saying yes, being open, but then saying no and being okay, and it's okay.
And being okay,
you can't go out on the family function because you have you're throwing your wedding. You can't go.
Right.
Like, it's just reality.
Or you can't go to that person's event because you have a bunch of orders to make or whatever. Like it gets to that. But you know what? It thins out the herd, because the people who understand stay. Exactly. And the people who don't, they leave. And like, true. I try not to think of it as like, oh, I'm in my 30s. I need to rush to get all these things. Cause I love like those inspirational stories about people in business or people in entertainment, where it was like Tyler Perry had 7 years of failure with his play until one night the right person was in the audience. You know what I'm saying? So stories like that, or Kentucky Fried Chicken, he didn't get popping until 63. Vera Wang, all same thing, 50. So I'm looking at them like, it doesn't matter when you start, whether it's 0 or 60, you just got to start. And it'll build from there. And it can't be a rush to get it because you're getting old, because then it slows down even more, because you're like, I'm never going to get it. You put that out into the universe, then you're never gonna get it.
It's true. It's true. Yeah, and the way you know, for, like me, I'm a lifer when it comes to dreams. You know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll be making merch when I'm 70. Like maybe not physically.
You'll have your little
I
helpers.
hope Little Noodles, or at least
No,
maybe
I
his
mean
crew, or
by then Stereotype will be like a corporation, bro, like a huge building with franchise stores in every city. Like, so you won't need to even physically be anywhere. You'd be retired on a beach somewhere looking at your stocks go up for Stereotype. I'm putting it out there.
so it's interesting that you say that, because I actually tell all the people in my life, I'm like, yo, just warning you, I'm not going to be retiring.
Oh
Or
wow.
I actually say the opposite. Like,
Yeah.
not, and it's not that I'm going to need the, you know,
Yeah.
the money and all that. Like, it's not about, oh, I need to pay these bills, because I'm thinking now for when I'm 70, you know,
Yeah.
God willing, I'll get there. But I always tell people, I'm like, I need a reason to get up.
Yeah.
I want to have a purpose. I want to make sure that, and of course, things could change. So I always do this with people. I always put a reminder in my phone, like,
Yeah.
so we could check back in with each other in 30 years. I'll be
Mhm.
66. I'll put a reminder in my phone for 2041.
You'd be like, see, Jodi, I'm still working.
Text I'll be like, yo, message Jodi DaReal at
Still working.
2061, September 28th. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put a reminder in Google Calendar. I'm pretty
That's
sure
so funny.
Google will probably be around.
Yeah.
And
Oh, definitely.
Um,
They'll hybrid into something you can connect to your brain, probably. But they'll
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
still be here.
But yeah, I don't want to retire. I want to have even little set tasks that
Yeah.
just kind of keep me going, that keep me on pace. And but who knows, by then my whole goals could change. But like I'm saying it now, I want to always be working or have a business to look over, or hopefully multiple by then.
Yeah.
I think it gives us, it's so important.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I know some people now, like, they're not working, and they wake up and they're like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, nothing. And I'm like,
What?
that shouldn't be the case. Like,
Yeah,
that's a reason to do
exactly.
more
No.
something, and not
Mhm.
overwork yourself and get
Yes.
to the point of fatigue and
Yeah.
being worn out.
You can't work on fatigue. That's why sleep is very important to me. Like, Sean's
Yeah.
always laughing because I feel like I take a nap, and I think you're gonna laugh too, because I take a nap before I go to sleep.
Oh,
So
really?
it's like yeah, it's not on purpose. It's just like, I don't know, my brain, my body is just on that clock for some reason. So like around 7 o'clock, 7:30, I usually like pass out in the living room, and then I'll wake up at like 9 and like watch TV for a little bit. And sometimes I'll stay up, like I said, like 10, 11, and then I'll go right to sleep. And so I was like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, how can you sleep and then sleep again?
That is
But I know
interesting.
but I know in those instances, it's because I was really tired. Really tired. So I definitely take advantage. And that's the beauty of being your own boss and having your own business, is that on those days I just sleep. Like, there's some days where I'm like, I'm not going to draw today. I'm going to watch something silly and stupid so my mind doesn't have to really think, and I'm going to play Call of Duty and and not think about art.
Yeah.
Because you got to give yourself that break too, because your mind's like boop, 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 when you're thinking about work and your business. So
Yeah.
self-care is important.
Self-care.
Self-sleep.
Yeah.
Self-sleep. So important.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm team sleep. I'm all about, I'm pretty much clockwork. Like, I go to bed at like 10, 11, wake up at
Yeah.
6.
Exactly.
And it's, I live with my other half who's a teacher, so her schedule is set.
Yeah.
But it made mine set too, because I want to make sure I see her when she gets out, or when I get out, she's there. We could cook,
Exactly.
and it kind of gave me more structure
Yeah.
which I didn't always have. I was always a little free.
Yeah.
Things were bouncing around, but now it's like I work at 7, I'm done at 5-ish, and then I fill in gaps if I have to.
Exactly. Because Sean, he's an essential worker. He works at a nursing home. So he usually has to wake up around like 5, 6:30. So because of that, I have like an alarm clock. Like he's my alarm clock. So
Yeah,
once he's moved, I'm like, okay, time to work. Like,
yeah,
but we do take advantage of like sleep days and sometimes just self days, like so that we're not always like business, business, business. We have to set aside days where it's like, let's just watch some movies and relax. Because that's
okay.
important part of like working with your partner, literally. Because we are gonna butt heads. We bump heads. I wouldn't say a lot, but we're very good at talking out our differences. Like it's been honestly amazing because even our arguments, they're not like day long, week long arguments. They're
Yeah,
like, in this moment, let's talk about it, let's compromise. You get something, I get something at the end of the conversation, and that's really worked out in the long run in business and in the relationship.
communication, it's just so
Yes,
powerful, and
very powerful.
expressing, and then being willing to understand what they're going through, and
That's
that's shout out
very
shout
important.
out to him. Shout out to all the better halves and or other halves.
Yes.
We switch off on being who's the better half. Um, we make up
I
for.
feel like it's like yin and yang. Like there are some things where he's the better half, but then there are some things where I'm the better half. And
Exactly.
and that's why like it works for us, because we're not trying to overpower the other person. We're like, we recognize, okay, this is my weakness. I'm gonna let Sean take lead. Okay, this is my weakness. I'm gonna let Jodi take lead. Like, so that's been a huge thing too, like humbling yourself. Like you can't do everything,
It's true.
So it's definitely a huge help when your partner is also your business partner. Like,
Yeah, shout out to all the partners out there.
yeah,
It's a blessing to.
supportive partners. Shout out to the supportive partners.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey, and
Mhm.
it's not easy like
Yeah.
anything, but to have someone there that you could count on, that you trust, that makes you just want to be better, it's just everything. So just shout out to Sean, my other half, and all the other halves out there,
Yes.
helping there, just being there for someone. um, and that just, that's something I really learned during the pandemic. And I
Yeah.
know we're not in person doing this, but being able to just talk to people, Jodi, is
Yeah.
I've seen has been so key during this time, and just in life in general. It's just,
Yeah.
you talking about your dreams, I'm sharing stuff about mine.
Yeah.
It helps us lose some of the weight that we're carrying on the day-to-day grind,
Because
so
I've even switched it to like, I'm no longer chasing my dreams because I'm all about attracting what I want. So now I've switched it to not chasing my dreams but living my dreams.
there you
You know
go.
what I mean?
Welcome.
So
That's a
yeah,
beautiful
exactly.
place.
So it's like I'm a full-time artist now, and I never thought, like, if I told my 20-year-old self, hey, you're going to be a professional artist in 32, that's going to be your only income, I would have looked at her like, where? So yeah, definitely me living my dream now. And the beauty of that is like, then whatever I want is possible because I'm living it. So I've been
Yeah.
trying to keep that mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, the little things that we say have such an impact
Yeah.
on, and it's like sometimes we do it subconsciously. Like I was talking to someone today, and they're like, I'm gonna try to pray every day. I'm
It's
like,
like, no, you gotta do it.
just
Do
don't put try to pray. Put
it.
pray every day. Just, and I said,
Right.
write it in pen. Like
Yeah.
be sincere with it. No
Mhm.
pencil here. We're writing it in pen.
Exactly. Because I was just talking about that with someone where it's like, trying is an action. So if you're not actually doing it, then you can't say trying. And even if you're doing it and you're failing horribly, you're trying. But if you're just sitting there like, I'm trying to pray, like, no, you pray. And then if it's difficult, then you're trying.
Yeah.
So even that's crazy because I've botched up a lot of shirts and a lot of hoodies trying to figure this out. Then the printer wouldn't work, the ink, the this, the paper, so many things went wrong. And I just stopped, took a deep breath, and was like, you will figure this out. This printer will make merch for you. This is your merch printer. You will figure this out. Oh man.
You were doing
Yeah.
in the midst of doing, you were trying to do it. Or
Yes.
so trying falls within doing. But I think
Exactly.
so I corrected them. I was like,
Mhm.
don't say try. Keep try out.
Yeah.
Pray 5 times a day. You know,
Exactly.
like the little, and sometimes we don't realize it helps. Sometimes just talking to someone, they're like, Dave,
Mhm.
you're kind of negative. Or, oh, Dave,
Yeah.
you're not forgiving people that much. Like, what's up with that? Like, and
Yeah.
sometimes we do things we don't even realize, and it just helps
Yeah.
having someone maybe
An
who's on the
outside
outside.
perspective.
Yeah, they're not dealing with all the idiosyncrasies of the day to day,
Mhm.
and they
Exactly.
could see it kind of black or white, and they're like, "Yo, check, what's up?
Yeah.
Why you act? You know, you don't have to be that way." And like, and it, sometimes those moments where we got checked,
Mhm.
I try to embrace a check. You know, like I have some people in my life, give them the little bit of check, and it's like a hockey fight. Like, yo,
It's like, what did
I'm
you
like, no, I
say?
don't need to take the gloves off. Like, no, I'm just telling, like, yo, check it out. Like, it's okay. Like, we don't have to take off the gloves and
Yeah,
pause the
exactly.
game right now. Like, it's not
Because
like that.
I've had friends and honestly lost friends because of checks. Because they're like, oh, da, da, da. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to go here and you trying to go here. And I can't be stagnant with you. Like I need to, and
Yeah,
if the point is that you need to work harder, not for me, but for your own self-worth,
yeah,
then so and perspective is a huge disruptor of conversations. Um there's this meme where these two people standing like this, and in the middle of them is the 6, but on the other guy's side it's a 9, and they're going back and forth in this argument in this meme. And the thing is, they're both right, but it's how you see it. Like people get so tied into I'm right and you're wrong, and sometimes it is that, but then other times it's because I'm seeing a 6 and you're seeing a 9, and we just need to come in the middle so we can both see the 6 and the 9. Like, so perspective, understanding, those are big things in conversation
yeah,
that I've been learning. And even me, I'm still working on it, as
totally.
far as like how to be a better communicator, how to make sure people are aware of my boundaries, and just what I need done,
Yeah,
because people don't pay enough attention to their boundaries, and then they end up in an argument later because they didn't express it. This is my line, don't cross it.
that's real.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been growing, man. I've been trying to look a lot of self-reflection, because I was beating myself up, beating my past self up, and blaming the people in my past. But now, because I'm trying to be from a place of inner peace, I don't look at those people in my past as wrong. I look at them as we were wrong for each other. And that's like friends, businesses, relationships, whatever the case is. Because sometimes it's not that either. It's not they're the villain, I'm the villain. It's just our energies weren't meant to be.
Yeah,
And that's just let things go, people. Some
yeah,
things are just that, just your energies don't mesh. If it's always a drama, if it's always a such stressful situation, even if it's work, just let it go. Easier said than done, but
totally.
that's what I've been practicing this year
Yeah,
and last year. So yeah.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about like saying no to some things. It's like,
Yes, exactly.
all right, you're good in my life. Maybe on some high and by tip. All
Yeah.
right, maybe it's not a we see each other every week. Oh, you're out doing all these crazy things. That's not my thing. All right, we grew up with each other. I'll
Like, I
talk to
love
you here and there.
you,
Yeah,
but stay over there
exactly.
for my peace, for my
Yeah,
peace.
and
Because
it was
stress is a huge thing in my family. A lot of people have passed away from cancer,
wow.
and all of them were healthy eaters. It's not like they were smokers or they ate like ridiculous things. Like, they were all healthy eaters. And the one person that I did get to speak to closely about it was my dad. And he, like, before he passed away, he was definitely like, listen, stress is a killer. Do not allow stress to, because you see what I'm going through, like, because he was in Germany at the time, and the doctors, even the doctors were telling him it was stress. He was
Wow.
overworking himself. He was doing way too much, and his body was just like, you need to chill. um and that happens a lot, even in the smaller sense, where it's like, if you get a cold, chill. Sometimes your body is telling you relax, and if you keep ignoring the cold, it will eventually develop into something more serious. So being at peace has been my main focus. I've
That's
even
real.
avoided events, not to say that those people are bad, but just because the last time I was in their presence, it was awkward or toxic. So I'm like, you know what, let me just, why relive? If there's no benefit financially or network wise, why relive it? So I've been
Yo, it's that saying no.
trying to
Why
stay happy, man. Trying to stay
saying no?
happy.
Saying no to the drama. Saying yes to
No,
the
no,
peace.
no. Yeah.
That's
And
real.
trying to teach other people to say no too. Because I've had friends complain about their lives, and I'm like, dude, don't come to me, because I will definitely tell you to cut that person off, quit that job, take that plunge, take that leap. Like, I'm that person to, because in that conversation, I will never
Yeah.
sit here like, oh no, you should stay. You should figure it out. I'm like, dude, if it's stressful, even a little bit, it's not worth it. Life's not worth it. Too short. Snip. Like, I'm too cynical at times, I guess.
No, I respect when people know what's right for them,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's a journey to figure that out, and
Yeah.
it's like we all have this, I want to make it work. And I think that's the tricky part when you hit that moment where like you may not want to come off as a quitter.
Yeah.
Like I've had those
Exactly.
moments where I'm like, oh, maybe I should keep doing this because maybe I'm quitting.
Yeah.
But like me shifting into the merch full time
Yeah.
or full focus when I had other dreams that a lot of people knew me for, I was like, you know what? I'm in this fork. I'm making the decision, and the decision
Mhm.
was the right one. And you
Because even
learn you learn either
music,
way.
yeah, music and art was also a fork at one point, because I had to pick which one was going to be my major, which one was going to be my minor. And when I was younger, music was my major. I thought I was going to be like the superstar rapper. But I didn't realize that art has been with me from the jump. Art has always been the major since I was a baby.
Mm.
And the fact that I got so hooked on the minor that I didn't realize, like, yo, that's your bread and butter. That's what you've been doing for 8 years, doctorate degree type, you know what I mean? So that's where I am right now, where it's like the art makes the money, the music is the minor, because I'm still learning. I actually started taking this music industry essentials course. It's with Yellow Brick and NYU. So I just started taking that just to, like, now that my art's starting to get master level, I'm like, let me find out some more about the music. So it
Cool.
switched from the rap star to the songwriter slash sometimes rap star.
Yeah.
Because I just had to figure out what worked, and especially with where music is headed now, and how it's being handled. I'm like, dude, I want to be behind the scenes for right now. And then if I could see an opening where I'm comfortable and I don't have to sell my soul, or I don't have to recreate who I am to get through that door, then I'll really push to be like the rap star. But I've sort of fallen into that, oh, you have to be this sexy girl, or oh, you have to be like this girl next door. And I'm just like, but I'm neither of those things. Like, where do I go? Where do I go? So growing up definitely has affected like how I've dealt with music and art. Because my bread and butter now is my art. But now I make a little bit of money from the music as well for songwriting, and I do demos, I do references for people. So I've been making money off of that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I need to rethink this minor. Maybe it's not that I'm the rap star, but I'm involved somehow. So
There
still
you
working
go.
that.
You're
Yeah.
figuring out. And I
Yeah.
think that's the beautiful thing about doing, and then the trying comes in too, where you're like, okay, I'm doing it. Maybe it's not going the way this way, but wait,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try
Exactly.
this. Like trying is almost figuring it out now.
Exactly.
You know,
Because
like
it's like you never it's sometimes what you thought it was supposed to be is not what it's supposed to be. And that's when you heat, like, I believe in, if you keep hitting a brick wall, find the door. That might not be the category or the job or the person or the whatever for you if it's just continuously a brick wall. So recently I've been looking for free flowing movement when it came to networking or decisions about what to sell and what to make. And I think that's why this month has seemed like an explosion, because I started saying no to those brick walls more and yes to the easier situations. And life has just been like, oh, a breeze, like just relax. You got this.
But and it's cool because it's only easy too because you've grinded so hard and you've
Yeah,
practiced and you've sharpened the sword
exactly.
for over a decade or more, to now when you get to a point where they're like, could you do this two-dimensional painting?
Yeah,
It's a no-brainer because you've done comics with shading that's, you know, Marvel style, and
yeah,
you've done 3D things and you've done animated things. So like, oh, could you do this 400 square foot thing? Oh yeah, no problem.
yeah. No problem.
It's just
I'll figure it out.
because all those extreme difficult tasks that you were doing, it made the more, maybe, you know, the more two-dimensional move. All right, this is no brainer. You're like, I could easily pull that, and then you just got blessed because you know you've kind of just built this luck up to the point where you've worked so hard. There's just things pointing all different
Right
ways. Things
now,
are gonna hit you.
everything is coming. And like I said, being on the internet, being on social media for like a full year and a half, 2 years of just pumping till now that things are opening up. All of those people who saw me on social media are, everyone's out, everyone's outside. They're like, oh, can you do this, can you do that? So and some of it is repeat clients, people I thought were completely over me, and then now they're calling me now like, hey, somebody needs something and I remembered you did this for me, here's this. Or because that's been my blessing honestly as well. Shout out to Projectivity, shout out to Chris. Like, most of the murals I've gotten recently were off the strength of Projectivity. They are a blessing for a lot of artists. They
Yeah.
help, you know what I mean, get people work for murals and projects for schools. So shout out to them, because and funny enough, they were my first mural. Chris was the one that got me the gig for my first mural, and he's always been paying it forward. So now I'm like, he too, just like you, have been like watching, like, okay. So now he's like, oh, I see where you're at. Are you ready to work? I'm like, dude, sensei, let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
Sensei, let's go. I'm ready to learn. Like, let's do it.
And if you're a creative out there and someone's like, hey, are you able to do this? And then you
Yeah.
say yes, that's only 5%.
Right?
The
Yeah.
95 is you doing it
Yeah, you getting it
professionally, the
done.
right way, on time, no excuses,
Right?
no back and forth BS.
Right?
Because the minute you do that is the minute the person who's paying you is like,
Mhm.
I'm happy I paid them. Not,
Right.
but now think about, oh, there's back and forth. You're late. You're not
Right.
showing up. You didn't do it.
Yeah.
You don't. They don't even know if you're coming. You don't come. This is person paying you. They may think of someone else the next time they
Exactly.
want to pay someone if you gave them that experience.
Hmm.
You should
And then
give.
the other thing, like the other thing I've noticed too that helps you get clients is literally a page out of Chris's book. Pay it forward. There are times or clients or projects that I can't do that I'll hit up another artist to be like,
Yeah.
yo, maybe they can do it. That's their style. You know what I mean? And just to like move the work around. Like there's no reason why we should be competing. There's so many different styles out here in the island that to the point where we could literally start a corporation of
Yeah.
collectives and like take over the world. That would be so cool because there's so much talent on the island.
It's true. Yeah. Paying it forward is so key. And it's not, there's so much pie for us. Sometimes there may be droughts or slow weeks or months.
Mhm.
But if you're out grinding, if you're sitting home, you're being lazy, you watched every show, you've played every game, you're not going to be as lucky. I don't even.
Unless you're, because the way I see it is there's two things. What are you spending the most time on?
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge supporter of hibernation.
Yeah.
Like that's when you pretty much you it's just solitude, but it's what you're doing in that solitude. Are you learning a skill? Are you perfecting something? Because if you're just sitting there doing nothing, it's a waste of time. You're
Yeah.
not living to your full potential. Because
Yeah.
that's all I've been doing is I feel like I've been hibernating for a while, just like reading up on stuff, and now I'm ready to like time to get out of here. Like let me show you guys what I've been doing, why I've been so hidden.
And it's just been dope to watch, and I'm really excited to see where you go from here. For anyone, I know where to find you,
Yeah.
but where could, if someone wants to cop some merch, someone wants to follow the journey, where could they find you?
So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It's all the name Jodi DaReal, JodiDaReal. If you search that, it'll come up. And as far as like the merch goes, you can go to jodidareal.com and I have all the items up there. And if you follow me on Instagram, you could see when I have new merch coming up.
No doubt. Yeah. So I'll quickly pull it up for anyone on the video side of things. If you're currently tuned into the audio side, it's JodiDaReal.com, Jodi DaReal. And I'll also link it in the description as well. But here we go. We got the website with all the new merch, the new designs, and then.
Oh yeah, I could talk about it a little bit. My about page, as well as my Fuck It It's Friday Cypher series page. We were doing a Cypher series with a all-female production, so there's some really cool videos on that. I'll be starting that up really soon once I get some things off my table. But that was dope too. We didn't even have time to talk about that. Next time. But yeah, I started a Cypher series with all women, dope ass lyricists, just filming them being great, being themselves. So I'll definitely be starting that up soon as well.
Yeah, so once again, make sure to connect with Jodi DaReal. on all platforms and the website. Check out the new merch. I know you got some dope murals
Yeah.
popping up on the island.
I mean, at this point, it's getting to the point where I could probably literally do a Jodi DaReal tour of murals in the North Shore. So that's cool. That's going to be a goal of mine. Like, let me see how many spots I can hit out here. And in the southern part of Staten Island as well. Hopefully more to come.
And it's just been amazing to watch your journey, just from even our last interview to now. I'm really it's just so dope to see a fellow dreamer really making their dreams a reality and living them. And once again, shout out to Sean, and of course shout out to all the partners out there supporting your dreamers. I know it's a path not chosen by too many, but your support goes a long way to us dreamers that are out taking these paths. And then shout out to everyone who's just following a path, creative or not. You got to be creative to go in the kitchen to pick up your kids at 6 a.m. at 4 p.m. and bringing them to karate. So, art or not, you're creative for just putting in the work, and I acknowledge everyone out there just waking up with a purpose and making it happen for their people and their family.
And not giving up. Following your dreams, whatever that may be.
So shout out to everyone out there, all the listeners. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, Dave Noodles YouTube. We're on all podcast platforms. And of course, make sure to tune in to Maker Park Radio every other Wednesday, 6 p.m. And check out the station as well. And don't stop dreaming, everyone.